Uh, George, I get my rush. Morning, my friend. Gunners
Good
of the
morning.
world, football fans. Well, it's morning on my part of the world, but it is afternoon by you. And I just finished a rainstorm and all of that. But I thank God the power held up. George, how you doing?
All right, not so bad.
You're not. Yeah, you should be happy, George. That's all right. We finally overcame. I gotta edit this banner, which I did in a hurry, George. So while people are watching, I'm going to hide the banner and I'm going to do it all over. So, George, we overcame a plucky. I don't know where I got that word. A plucky Norwich, and everyone is happy, and I am happy. But it was a struggle. And I wanted us to look on the good, the bad, and the future. So you might want to give your general impressions, but let us, after you're done, let's look at those three particular areas. So we are to have some focus in this stream.
Well, it was a decent performance given what we've seen up till now. Uh, Ainsley Maitland-Niles and being in midfield was a bit of a surprise, pleasant surprise.
Yes.
Now it was a struggle,
Definitely. And
and
I
they're
was
shocking.
sorry, George. Go ahead.
Norwich are shocking. They're going down. They haven't. That's 4 games, and they haven't scored a goal in open play.
Yes.
And they won't score many goals in open play, and we beat them 1-0. But we won. It's 3 points. It's better than not winning or losing, I suppose. Well, definitely. But I predicted this. I said, what will happen is we'll scrape a win against Norwich, and everybody will say, oh, what a difference it's made, having all these players available, ignoring the fact that it's Norwich. And that's exactly what's happened. It's all over Twitter this morning, how well we played. I mean, how much of a difference Ben White made and the Emperor Hirohito, who had a good game, by the way.
Yes.
For a debutant, it must be said. And some of them did play all right, but, 1 goal. And in reality, I'm shocked that it was allowed to stand. It looked offside to me. And they could easily have had a penalty. And we could have lost that game. We could have lost that game 1-0. But for 2 refereeing decisions that went our way, which normally don't go our way. Fair enough. But 3 points, can't complain. The confidence must have been so low. And I think they did well to come out the way that they did. I was impressed. I was watching, actually. I had a stream on, and there was something wrong with the audio. It kept repeating what the commentator was saying. It wasn't in time, and they kept saying the same thing over. It would say, oh, that's Lukongo passes to Ainsley Maitland-Niles. So Lukongo passes to Ed. And I thought, oh, I can't do this. So I turned the audio off, and I just watched it. And after a minute or two, I'm thinking, have I got this on fast forward? Honestly, it was frantic. Everything was moving that fast. I seriously thought I'd pressed the button and somehow I was watching it on fast forward. So credit to them for coming out the way they did. For the first 20 minutes, we were swarming all over them, doing everything that we want the team to do. Basics, not particularly doing it well, but at least we were trying. We were moving the ball quickly. We were closing down. We were all over them. And that must have been difficult because the confidence must have been low. The pressure was on. And it's no mean feat to come out and play like that, even if it's only Norwich. It's no mean feat to come out and play like that when you haven't got a point on the board and you haven't scored a goal. And we did it. So credit to the team and credit to Arteta for getting them up for the game. We're quick to criticize him when he makes what we think are mistakes, but he got that right. He somehow managed to galvanise them, which must have been very difficult given the start we've made. So that's the good points. You know, there was some good stuff to look at, and 30 shots on goal. Some of them were shots with no chance of scoring.
Yes.
But anyway, they go down as attempts, and I mean, we easily deserved to win. We could have won, although we could have lost 1-0 if the refereeing decisions had gone against us. We could also have won 3 or 4-0 if we'd taken a reasonable amount of the chances we created. So some good stuff, some positives at least. We're moving in the right direction, albeit rather slowly.
You know, George, I was a little surprised. The midfield is selected. When he put Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and actually it's because you know, the preview with Ehab, we were expecting a Partey Lokongo double pivot, as they like to say.
Yeah, me too.
And so he explained that he didn't think he was well enough for 90 minutes, but that was a great decision. And although Maitland-Niles, you know,
well, was it a great decision? If he's not well enough for 90 minutes, it's a decision he had to make. If he thought he was fit, he would have played.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a great decision. It was an enforced decision. Who else could he have played?
A good friend of ours, Siebes, Ian Space, was saying that he loves to play names. And so it'll be interesting to see when we go to Blackburn next week. Not Blackburn, Burnley. Blackburn George, you're on my mind. When they go to Burnley next week, if he will resort to Partey, because that's a far more. Yes. But I started off. Many people know that Peacock in America was horrible, so I started out watching a turbo stream, and I was saying, "Who is spraying all these passes together?" Because I couldn't recognize the players. But that turned out to be a good aspect. I don't know if he's going to, as you say, we don't expect him to start in the middle against Burnley, but I thought that was healthy. That helped him.
Yeah, and you know, you've got to remember as well that you think he played quite well. You go on the internet, and it was all what's Maitland-Niles doing in midfield? He's not a midfield player. He should be fighting for a place on the left, on the right wing back position. People were writing him off, saying that he wasn't having a good game. I read some comments saying that it was a terrible pairing. There was no control in midfield. So everybody's looking at it different as well, because everybody already has the preconceived ideas about who should be playing and what they'll play like, and how bad it'll be if they don't pick the players that they want to play in those positions. This is something new, or not new, but something that's developed more and more recently, that if the manager doesn't pick the players you want and the system you want, the assumption is everybody's crap in those positions. It doesn't matter whether they have a good game or not, because it's not the player you wanted. They're written off.
Well, George, we're going to resort to facts here. I mean, I know I rail against a lot of things that goes on in social media, but I'm going to share something with you and the listeners. And this is on whoscored.com. Ainsley Maitland-Niles had an 80% pass success ratio. He had 1 shot on goal. He had 2 key passes, right? And he had 71 touches. Now everybody's all creaming, jizzing all over Albert, who had a good game. But Albert had 0 key passes, although he had 2 shots on goal. You see what I mean, George?
Yeah.
Right? He had a 67 touches to Ainsley Maitland-Niles 71. And only because he probably had 1 shot on target, which was a very good shot, by the way, and I recall seeing it. But because he's new, they're creaming all over him, and I just simply feel, and this is one of the things I want to do on this stream and this that we do. We need to get away from this. We have an agenda, and we have certain people that we want to promote. The statistics don't lie there. At least the data doesn't lie, unless you're saying that who scored is a liar. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, oh, I agree. You know, all the new people with a new player, everything you do, people are looking for positives.
You're right.
They're looking for them to have done something good. Once they've been with us for a while, and the people have turned against them, it's the opposite. You're looking for a mistake.
Yes.
You know, and that's inevitable, I'm afraid. I mean, it's the same. Look at Aubameyang now. So a lot of people have turned against him, and all of a sudden, everything he does is a negative. I mean, he's exactly the same. Well, it's not exactly the same, but he's very similar to what he's always been.
Yes.
But looked at from a different perspective because he's not new.
Well, you know, George, to talk about that, you know, I saw people saying that he had a lot of chances to score. But according to who scored, he had 6 shots, 2 of them on target. One of them that was saved by the goalie. I remember that very well. He had 2 key passes, 71.4% success rate in his passing, which, by the way, is typical of him. He's not a very great passer. And he won, George, he won 3 aerials. You know, and early in the week, and I thought that was good of him. I thought that was typical of Aubameyang, and he got the chance that he put away that we needed. You know, that ball rebounded, ricocheted off the post twice. And as you said, I thought it was an offside, but Mike Dean was the VAR ref, and he decided to give that one to us, saying it came off Tim Krul last. We were lucky as hell. I was saying offside, you know, Shotta, offside. But go back to my point. It was a typical Aubameyang performance. Yet there are people saying, "Oh, Aubameyang is not committed. He doesn't show any passion." This is typical Aubameyang. What don't you think?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But we're looking at him through different eyes at the moment because you know, because he's on £350,000 a week and he's not scoring every week. He's the best. He's a top earner, so he'll get the most blame. Just like Ozil got the blame when he was a top earner.
Exactly.
For the team performing badly.
Yeah.
Typical, but that's the way it is. Anyway, let's not look at the negatives. I'm
not. I'm just bringing out the fact that Aubameyang had a decent performance, and I'm very much against the detractors who are saying that he was bad. He was not bad. I think he was typical Aubameyang, and he put away. Okay, one of 6, George, but that's not bad. That's not you know, bad for a striker. I mean, a striker might get 6 chances, and you know, we would like him to be 20%. That's very high, and that's, you know what I mean. Compare that to his other partner up front who I didn't see him scoring a goal at all. Anyway, that's another matter. The other person who I kind of felt, very good, and everybody's screaming all over him too, but I think the Emperor, as you said, that was good. He had a very good, and I was surprised, by the way, George, that he started. I mean, I was on the show with Ehab on Friday again, and Arteta made a fool of me. I said, you know, he's this guy coming all the way from wherever he went to play his 2 World Cup qualifiers, somewhere in Asia. And you never know where they play, by the way, and I didn't really know. And he didn't, and up to Thursday in the presser, he didn't have a work permit. So I'm pleasantly surprised. And it was a back 3, by the way, George, and the back 3 worked. So between the 2 of them, he helped out good old Ben White. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they did all right, you know, but the Norwich's attack is shocking.
Yes.
Like I said, they haven't scored an open play goal, and they won't. So I see people saying how well Gabriel played, as you know, and they all did all right. Some of them got some good blocks in, some last ditch blocks, throwing themselves in front.
Yes.
But it was only Norwich, and we'll see. We'll you know, it's strange that if you say, "Oh, we got beat 5-0 off City," and they'll say, "Oh, it's only one game," you know, it's Manchester City. You can't judge him by one game. Now all of a sudden, the same people are judging us as playing well from one game, one goal against Norwich. What? How does that work?
Well, I don't think they can explain that, George. And if you and I want to rant about it, it's we're being negative. We're whatever. Yeah. Especially me, because I get really annoyed by it and I can't help it. But George, speaking of Norwich being pathetic, and I'm going to give a lot of props to Ehab again, and I'm also encouraging people whenever we do the Friday previews. I do it on Zoom because he can then bring the tactics board on. And by the way, you're now on Zoom, so you have no excuse next time, although you're traveling. But Pookie, he made a point that Pookie is not very good in the pocket, that he's not well set. I mean, the guys that give him balls, and he is just, the point I'm making is that is why I think Norwich is going to struggle. You cannot pass Pookie the ball in the pocket, and I'm focusing on Norwich here because I was trying to see the point he made, and he was just not able to. That is why they're going to go down. He's not very good against Premier League defenders. Oh, against the Championship, when he has space and he can run onto the ball, yeah, he's been good. But props to you, Ehab. You were very correct on this. The other observation, good, George, but it was shocking, and we have mentioned it, is that Ramsdale was selected over Leno. Now, remember, George, during all of last year, we said you sold the wrong goalkeeper. And this year, we've spent 25, is it 25 or 24 something million? Help me out there, people in the stream. If I go to the comments, I don't see any yet. But we paid good money for Ramsdale, and we selected him at the first opportunity. So it was pleasant, but a pleasant surprise. But that's noteworthy, don't you think?
Yeah, it was a shock, wasn't it?
Yes.
So we'll have to see how that goes as well.
And he did a good job, by the way, George.
Yeah, he did fine. Yeah, he did good. Mm-hmm. But then, he's been written off as well by a lot of people. I don't know how everybody becomes an expert on goalkeeping. It takes me on time to know what good outfield players are in the Premier League without knowing how good every goalkeeper is. Never having been a goalkeeper, never having stood in goals, not knowing fuck all about it. But there's millions of people exactly in my position who seem to be experts on goalkeepers. So there you go.
Well, George, I have a confession to make. 40 something years ago, I was a goalkeeper for my little youth club team. They canned me. The last football match I played for the company, we had a 5-a-side. I was the guy that stick in goal because I was the worst player. I'm amused. my footballing career. But George, on a more serious note, when we always analyzed Emmy, both of us, we always had this statement at the beginning, disclaimer: we are not goalkeeping experts, but this guy looks like he is a very good goalie. And Ramsdale comes across like that to me. He doesn't, I'm not. Obviously, I don't know anything about goalkeeper, horrible as I was. But at least he gathers. Ramsdale was communicating with his back three, and I was like, I hope they have some sort of relationship.
And he did a lovely Cruyff turn.
Yes, I was like, what the hell are you doing? it came off, and
imagine if that had gone wrong.
Oh Jesus, that would be the end of his career. And I thought Arteta commented on it. He was George, I don't. We have our opinion about Arteta, but we don't get into the weeds with this. Arteta is, excess. But his rationalization of the selection was like, oh, whatever. I don't know if you saw that online. Anyway, your thoughts on that? I mean, he gave a, Leno will have to work hard to get back his game. I'm like, you have made a choice, coach. This guy is like, we know how you operate. This guy is going to be on the fringes and he's going to be sold pretty soon. That's how you operate. That's how you and Edu operate. I don't see a good future for Leno here. Sorry, but this is how I see it.
No, I don't think there was a future for him as soon as we bought Ramsdale.
Mm-hmm.
You're not paying that much for a backup goalkeeper.
Exactly. You don't, yeah.
And especially not if you think you're going to get a decent amount when you sell your number one goalkeeper.
Right.
Wouldn't surprise me to see him go in January.
But you know what they're doing? They run down his value too, George. I mean, they probably could have gotten, 20-something million.
Yeah.
Whatever. No, they're going to be struggling to get 10 million. It's just, Anyway, George, I mean, the way how they manage this club, it's terrible. I don't know how people, you buy somebody for 30 million, you turn around and after 2 years and sell them for 10 million, that's $20 million you've lost. It might be because that's the business I'm in. You don't waste money like this. George, let's go on to the bad. Let's focus. Because what was the bad? I know you kind of hinted at, but what what the bad, since we're using those words and they kind of have a pejorative, but what was bad about the performances? The performance?
Well, bad was that after 20 minutes, they got back in it. And although we dominated for the first 20 minutes, we ended up with almost 50-50 possession.
Right. That was it. That was exactly.
So that tells you that they had the lion's share of possession after the first 20 minutes in order to level it up. So that's not good at home, 50-50 against someone who's come up from the Championship and who's going to get relegated. 30 shots on goal, 30 attempts, and one rather lucky goal in the end. That's not good. Yeah. So that's it, really. I mean, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to go into any more negatives. I don't want to pick out individual players either, because we'll see. Let's hope it's the green shoots of improvement rather than just a flash in the pan because it's Norwich. We can only hope. We can only wait and see. And to be fair, a lot of them, it was the first game together.
Correct.
They might be better. It might work. It might gel. You don't know. You can't just write it off as being not going to work any more than you can say after one goal and that 3-point win against Norwich that it's going to work. Either conclusion at this stage after that particular game would be madness.
Yes, I think we have to reserve our opinion and really curb our feelings because, obviously we have feelings about the manager and about the management because it's not only him. But, I mean, it's football and we want to see the club succeed. I don't think neither of us want to see the club relegated. Whatever happens beyond outside of us, for us, and that's how life is. So the future, George. Let's get going.
I think I just covered it.
Discovered the future.
Yeah, we don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. There's possibilities. Ben White's decent on the ball. You can't deny that. As long as we can, if the Emperor can cover him, his weakness for headed clearances, and Gabriel can cover him on the other side. Ben White can work. We'll be getting Xhaka back 2 games from now. That'll improve us. Pepe seems to be in favour with the manager at the moment. So
Actually, George, George, we know his strengths and weaknesses, but he was the most attacking threat yesterday, and he had the most touches of the first 11. 6 shots, 3 on target, 6 key passes, 86 point something percent pass success rate. I mean, he usually came inside. He came inside a lot. But I saw him go down the line one time and attempt to cross with the right foot. I was shocked. Sometimes it's off. But
you see, the problem with Pepe is he costs 70 odd million pounds.
Yes.
And he's been judged at 70 odd million pounds. If you were watching the game and you did not know how much everybody costs,
yes,
it was your first game. Let's watch this game of football. Arsenal are playing Norwich. We don't know anything about them, and we don't know how much every player has cost. You're a neutral. You go, that Pepe fella. He's been Arsenal's best player today. But if they hadn't said to him, well, he should be, it cost £74 million, you think, oh, he wasn't that good. so your judgment's tainted by the price tag. Yeah. He had a good game. He's had a lot of good games recently.
Yes.
Are they £73 million worth of good game? Possibly not. But what does that matter? That's irrelevant. It's not his fault. He didn't fucking say I'm a £73 million player.
No, they put that on Raul.
He didn't overpay 20 odd million so that the agent could never work again.
Make his 20%.
Yeah.
Which is 14 million pounds, okay? People, on top of the 72 million pounds. The 14 million is on top, not part of, okay? And this is what concerns me, by the way. I keep saying that we are being rinsed by these agents who are inside the club. Now keep going, George.
So my point on Pepe is he seems to be in favour with Arteta, and I think he's doing the business. I mean, he was more effective yesterday than Saka. Saka's the golden boy, and rightly so. He's a young academy player. We all enjoy watching him play. He's had some good games. But if you didn't know anything yesterday and you were watching that team for the first time, Pepe was a lot better than Saka.
I was just looking over on who scored, George, and Pepe only had. Saka only had 49 touches. He had 6 shots, none of them on target. 4 key passes. I mean, he was a threat. I mean, but he was. Pepe was far more effective.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the perception is Saka is brilliant, Pepe is a failure
because of the price tag.
Because the price tag, and because people have already judged him. Mm-hmm. You get people on Twitter and in blogs and on podcasts generally,
and on YouTube.
I'm absolutely sure that they do the player ratings before the game.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? They've already decided who's going to have a good game and who's going to have a bad game. As soon as the team sheet comes out, they've already marked them. Xhaka comes out. Xhaka, he's going to be a 3 today. Doesn't matter what he does. And that's the problem.
Well, George, I was, I went all over news, whatever they call it, Newsmax, whatever they call themselves.
News Now.
And I look at the number of player ratings, and I have to agree with you, George. They were all over the map. It's like people had made up their minds. But that's why I go to you scored. I mean, you are who scored. I don't necessarily agree with their, conclusions. I think sometimes it's an amateur writing their, doing their thing, or an intern, because that's what they do a lot in these media. Amateurs, people they don't have to pay a lot of money, young kids, but they use the numbers to rate the players, and I think that in general you may not agree with the rating, but you can't dispute the numbers. And I would recommend that people go over there, and you will see that the data. You may want to make a completely different conclusion, but you can't argue with the data. Although there are people who do. You know what I mean, George?
Oh, I know what you mean, yeah. But that's my point anyway. People are doing the player ratings before the game, before the season even.
Yeah.
You know, the minds are made up. And if you tell someone Pepe's had a good game and they've decided that he's crap and £73 million was robbery, they won't have it. You know, they'll look at the times where he tried to dribble past somebody and he lost the ball, as if every player in the world doesn't normally not dribble past people. It's not something any player does regularly. It isn't. You don't dribble past 2 or 3 players regularly. No player.
Not in the Premier League, you know.
Not even Lionel Messi did it, and in his pomp regularly.
Right.
Yet, as soon as Pepe tries it, if he loses the ball, he's like, the expectation is that for £73 million, he should be able to dance past all the defence and give himself a tap in.
Like Maradona.
I mean, doing a fucking Bergkamp.
Yeah, well, my memories of
a Cruyff turn on the goal line just to put an icing on the cake.
Yeah,
it's pathetic.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I don't think English people like that, but you know, the image of Maradona dribbling past 6 people and scoring a World Cup. I mean, that's just so fucking unusual. And
that's a once in a lifetime.
Right.
Even for Maradona.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they expect him, because we paid £73 million for Pepe, for him to do it. Nobody does it. Nobody. Right. That's why that type of play isn't in favour. It hasn't been since 1960s.
Yeah, you got to run combination, set up a triangle, and then you spring the guy.
You got to pass the ball. It's pass and move, move. They don't expect dribblers in the team to, you know, they're not Stanley Matthews anymore.
Right.
Because you lose the fucking ball most times.
Right.
Almost 9 times out of 10, you'll try to dribble past somebody, a professional, you won't get past him. And if you do get past him, he's accused of being absolutely useless. So you're expecting somebody dribbling the ball to make 3 players look absolutely useless on the way past. It's not going to happen. So that's why dribblers aren't in vogue. And you see this, we've all said, such and such a body, and he's a better dribbler.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many times did you see Xavi dribble past somebody?
Well, my mind was thinking of Arjen Robben George, because I mean he was a dribbler, and his thing was he would sometimes try to take you on down to the touchline, but oftentimes he laid the ball off on the inside and went and took the return ball, and that is how dribblers have to operate today. You know, I mean, I'm talking about the exclusive winger of the modern mold. And the other thing I thought about you, George, while you were speaking, is that because they dribble a lot, and because the fullbacks refuse to have them pass them, they get hacked. They're not allowing them, and they could pick up a lot of ankle injuries. They make them pay for trying to dribble past them. And I don't.
Look at Jack Wilshere.
Yes. Yeah, they hack you. Defenders are not going to allow that. Pictures of you being left on the ground is not good for your professional image. And they're not going to do that. Anyway, George, I think we spent a lot of time on that. Perhaps we'll want to. This is not a preview, but are we in good stead for Burnley?
I think it'll be a struggle. If we get a point, I'll be happy.
Me too. And you know that I've been pessimistic about Burnley for at least 3 weeks now.
I mean, they're not a good team, Burnley, but they're not a bad team either. They're efficient, and they have a fixed game plan, and they stick to it. They're physical. It's a hard place to go, little tight ground. Yeah. If we get a point against Burnley, I'll be very happy.
Me too. We'll talk about this on Friday, people. But thank you, George. I think that we have pulled out the main points. I think we are very happy for a win. Very happy with the performances of the players, some of the new players.
And even Arteta's performance.
And even Arteta's, yes, we are happy that he was. George, before I wrap up, I mean, he in his presser spoke of the pressure he came under. He was tremendous pressure, which tells me, by the way, something that you said that the team has been built by management, and if he fucks this up, sorry for my French, you made a point that they will get rid of him and get somebody else to do it. And I think he was feeling that pressure.
Yeah. I mean, credit to him. He got them. That first 20 minutes told me a lot about how successful he has managed those players over the international break. And make no mistake, I don't like him. But that doesn't mean he didn't do a good job.
Correct. And that is the spirit in which we want to run this stream, give credit where credit is due, but also, and at the same time as we make criticisms. But that is just a balanced way of looking at football, not this opportunistic, craven way that we often see. And I'm just making a general comment. I'm not targeting anyone in particular. Thank you, George.
All right. See you later.
Good, and we'll speak again. Hopefully, maybe, not before Friday, but you know what we do sometimes, we get motivated and do something. Thank you very much, George. Bye.
Bye.